edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor, Russ Stevens, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and he's JP's first son, Tim Hoey. Well, we have another great show for you tonight, so boys, let's get it started. And I had my list, Celtics, Bruins, Patriots, Red Sox, and then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose in the sporting world. The Milwaukee Bucks and the Orlando Magic, minutes before the game was going to start, decide to boycott the game over the shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And I don't know if we've seen such politics and sports intertwine in such a way in our lifetime, boys.
You probably won't see it like that again. This is a special situation. And the Milwaukee teams are the ones especially have to come to grips with it.
Right.
And the Brewers might be. The Brewers are having a meeting as we speak about
the Brewers. The Brewers just declared that game is not going on. The Brewers-Cincinnati game is not happening.
Now,
it's crossing sports.
Mm-hmm.
Jaylen Brown spoke last night how he didn't feel like playing today and how he wanted to leave the bubble to join in the protests. So this kind of started a little bit last night. I felt like Jaylen Brown may have been an igniter to this.
Well, the Kaepernick incident looks like small beans compared to this.
Yeah, that's a great point, Timmy. Yeah, what happens moving forward? Does the season continue, do you guys think, in your mind? Or does this just throw an upheaval to it where all of a sudden it's a domino effect where now lots of the teams will decide not to play?
I think it's really complicated. I think there's an opportunity for the NBA players to re-energize one of the things that they came down to the bubble for, which is to call attention to racial injustice and police brutality. And I think, what I heard in some of the comments over the last 12 hours is that some of that energy is dissipated over time. And this is a chance for them to get everyone's attention back on it. The question is, does the NBA join in this, hit the pause button for 3 days, give the players a platform with the idea that after they re-energize it, they come back to play? Once guys start leaving the bubble, though, it's over.
So
yeah, that's a good idea, Russ. Call off the rest of this week.
Yeah.
Let everyone say their piece and then move on.
Yeah. Get everyone's attention. Re-energize re-energize that part of it. And if I'm Adam Silver, I would lean into this really hard. I'd get the networks to go along with me. I'd partner with them and say, we're going to give this sport, which has done really amazing stuff over the last 90 days. I think we've all talked about that, an opportunity for these players to express themselves.
And the line has been crossed, Timmy, with politics and sports now. There will never be a situation where they're separate.
Apparently, this is until the next incident. There's going to be another incident. There's always going to be another incident.
But it just won't be about
I know.
It won't be about shootings. It'll be about a lot of things.
I got to give the black players credit. This is like one of the few platforms that the black people in the United States have where, it's a dominantly black league. And this is, one of the few platforms where they really can be heard. So I don't blame them one bit,
It remains to be seen how football will do.
Yeah.
Football's the other predominantly black sport by 80%.
On the most part, they're owned by a bunch of good old white boys.
That's a great point, Timmy. And the other part is, Joe, as you know better than anyone, the average NFL player's career is 3 to 5 years. So every game that an NFL player misses is a significant portion of their potential lifetime earnings.
Ross, that's a tremendous point because
they don't have the
NFL
leverage
players,
that a basketball player has.
They have a stub toe, their contract gets let go.
The average salary for the NBA is $5 million. So these guys just a 3 to 5 year career and they're all set.
These are true superstars. I mean, in basketball, it's 5 guys on the court at a time. In football, there's 22 guys who's starting for a team, and
And we know what these guys look like.
Yeah, the contracts aren't guaranteed for the most part in football unless you're a mega star, and then you are. But there's, 5% of the league has that status, and then the other 95, next guy up, please.
Look, the average guy in the NBA's shoe contract's probably $300,000-$400,000. Just the average guy for wearing shoes.
Yeah.
These guys,
none of us could pick out an NFL defensive back out of a crowd unless the McCourty twins are standing next to each other.
Yeah, right.
Well, Joe, you probably remember, going back to Scott's original question about, have we seen this before? There was obviously Tommy Smith at the 68 Olympics, and then you had Jim Brown and Bill Russell and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. There was definitely a spike in the late 60s around this sort of thing. Muhammad Ali. So it has crossed a line before, Scotty. The question is, does it become political in the sense of, this isn't Democrats, Republicans political. This is sort of social, cultural, right? This is less partisan, I think.
But also it's a team and two teams making a conscious decision to say, we're not going to play today. We're not going to work today because we don't like what's happening. And look, I respect all of them. I think to a large part, they're doing it for all the right reasons. Because some of these guys, it will hurt them financially as far as endorsements go. You know how that is. Like Michael Jordan says, even Republicans buy sneakers. It's always best for these guys to be neutral, but they're not being neutral. I'm proud of the NBA. They've handled this whole bubble thing. They showed America how to actually fight the virus and win. So this is very interesting. It's a great landscape for possible change. So very interesting, the sports world. But we got to go to, of course, we're a Boston sports show. We got to go to Boston sports. If the Celtics play, first of all, very impressive, sweeping the Sixers in 4 games. And look, obviously, they were able to handle a team minus Ben Simmons, but still a very much a quality team in the Sixers.
Yeah, they really did a number on them. They got basically Philly to quit and roll over by the 4th game, and they just demoralized them, right?
Yeah, they took away Embiid, and Philly had no answers. They couldn't hit a shot to save their lives, it seems.
Well, Embiid seems to take himself away with his lack of conditioning.
Yes.
I mean, he was two different guys, the guy in the first half and the guy in the second half.
Great
point.
Yeah,
double teaming and triple teaming will take it out of you more than anything.
It will.
Great
point. I have to be honest with you. Of course, you take out of this series, Jason Tatum continues to mature and become a better player. But what I took out of it is the contribution from Kemba Walker.
Terrific.
It felt like in the second half, he was that spark. I know he wasn't coming off the bench, but he seemed to be that spark off the bench that energized them offensively.
I think that's the second top narrative, right? The first is Tatum keeps ascending towards superstar status, but the second one is Kemba looks healthy and he looks ready to roll in the playoffs. This is a guy who didn't have a lot of playoff experience.
Well, they didn't have a lot of faith in him at first, starting this series. And he's improved and been a more dynamic part of every game since. He's on a very good trend.
Yeah.
Would you say that the NBA, you need to have 3 legitimate threats in a starting lineup now to be dangerous?
I think that's right.
That way to me, yeah. But it just seems, I don't know, just the way the rotation was, and Brad Stevens did a great job rotating guys and shortening the bench in the first series, but it just seemed like he had the right spots for Kemba as far as energy goes, and the way he came in the 3rd and 4th quarter. And obviously, Kemba's still fighting a knee injury at some level, but he spaced his minutes correctly. Great job by Brad Stevens. Look, all you had to see was Al Horford, who was just literally aging.
A shell of himself. A shell.
I read something. I read something that was very telling, because I really was almost embarrassed for Al Horford out there this series. But they've taken away the strength of his game. His game used to be at the top of the circle, and he was a distribute the ball from their guy and a shooter. He was basically told to go stand over in the corner, bring a defender over there with you, and let us run the team without you.
Well,
for $27 million a year.
I have to give us
20-something.
credit. I have to give us credit. I don't think any of us, I think it was slightly painful when Al left, but I think when presented with the contract that Danny would have had to pay Al, I think we all just said, totally understandable why Danny passed on Al for that amount of money, right?
Well, they certainly are not.
Defense.
They're certainly not utilizing Al's talents down there either.
No.
I mean, go stand in the corner, Al.
Yep.
But what we saw with
we'll
Al,
we'll run everything with you standing in the corner.
what we saw with Al last year when he had all the ice packs on after the first quarter and stuff, we saw a guy who played very hard in the University of Florida. They won some championships, has played very hard in the NBA. I mean, just physically, he can't do it anymore. And that's what you really saw in the third game. He handed the Celtics that third game victory. He was there in the final couple minutes, and he did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
He backed off Kemba there on the stop and pop.
Ooh.
It was like he was seeding.
I think there's some other interesting themes. I thought Wanamaker played really well this series. We got a lot out of him. He's played well in the bubble. We're going to need him in this Toronto series against Lowry and Van Fleet. That's a big deal. And they got some decent contributions out of various bench guys.
Yeah, Cantor's good for offensive rebounding, not much more. Tice gives you everything he has.
He does, including 6 fouls.
Yeah.
And he earns all 6.
That poor guy, though, he could be in another zip code and they're going to call him for a foul.
Oh, it's awful. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Awful.
Look, you mentioned Russ before that with Hayward going down, that guys like Wanamaker would get more minutes and they'd have to step up. Yeah, absolutely. When we don't notice Brad Wanamaker on the court, that's a good thing.
Yeah, just solid. You just need some solid play. You need some solid minutes. Brad managed to get a little something out of Grant Williams. I think Grant Williams was like 4 for 4 from 3 that series. Like he just was, to your point, he was pulling all the right levers. This was like Alex Cora in 2018. Like everything Brad did worked out for him.
It's going to have to continue because that team is so woefully thin.
Yeah.
It's, losing Hayward just destroyed their depth. They don't have a forward to bring in.
You're
well,
right.
they're trying to steal outs, as Joe said, right?
So you know what I love to do? I love to go on the team that's lost newspaper, their websites and read the comments from the fans after they've lost. Boy, are they killing this team in Philly.
Oh, yeah.
God, yeah, they killed
Butler's already been fired.
The process has failed.
Yeah, right. I know that was so arrogant, the whole process thing, wasn't it, Timmy? Yeah,
Do you remember how worried we were, though, on this show a year and a half ago, when Philly looked like they were unbeatable? I mean, we sat here, and I especially said we do not have an answer for Joel Embiid. He is going to destroy us when they play us.
Yep.
But they had that third guy then, Jimmy Butler, was as dangerous as anyone on the Celtics.
How can you not keep Jimmy Butler? Jimmy Butler's far more valuable than Tobias Harris. I know you like Harris, Joe, but Jimmy Butler's a different.
He's younger than Jimmy. He's got room to grow.
Yeah.
They gave away the farm for him, though, right? 2 first-round draft picks, 2 second-round draft picks.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, the process is
that was the end of the process right there.
That's for sure. All right, we go to Timmy's Bruins. All right, tied 1-1 in the Tampa series. Look, I didn't feel like they played last night that well. They were lucky to get to overtime, and when they got to overtime, they fell asleep. There wasn't 1 second of that overtime where they played well.
No, I had to say, watch out what I asked for, because I'm the number 1 Tuukka basher here, and I would have loved to have Tuukka in there last night, boy. Because Halak, I don't know if he slept on the wrong shoulder last night or whatever, but I think he needs to go back to the goalie clinic and learn to keep his stick on the ice when he's putting his pads together.
Yeah.
My God, how did those
that's
goals
a pretty
go in?
good
I have
Tampa
no
team, Tim.
Oh, they're good.
5-on-5, they're great.
Those weren't good goals, though.
No, very
those
soft.
were not good goals.
And you combine that with some really just bad individual defensive play. I mean,
that was all on Krug. The game when it was
Krug. Carlo was awful last night. He was brutal last night.
I'll tell you, Tampa's big and strong. Their defense is tough.
Timmy, every
that
time
Hedman, wouldn't you love him?
every time Victor Hedman touches the puck, I start to twitch because anything can happen.
He's a great player.
He's
a great player.
They're just big and mean and tough.
And Charlie,
He's killing them like Carlson killed him a few years ago.
But in a game where you got to be tough, and in a series you have to be tough, you need your tough guy in Charlie Coyle, and he didn't show up yesterday.
Yeah,
not his best game.
Yeah, not his best game, but boy, I got to tell you though, just on the positive side of things, that Marchand goal, that third goal, like
it was a thing of beauty.
That was unbelievable. This line, I don't know how it's the best line I've ever seen the Bruins have by far at this point in time. I mean,
in defense of Coyle, the Tampa Bay made a concerted effort to take away the middle. They took away not just Coyle, but Krejci was just totally out of it all game. Even Bergeron was neutralized. That was their game plan last night. It worked for them. The Bruins will adjust to it, but the Bruins have to adjust to the 5-on-5 play. They've been terrible 5-on-5.
Yeah, that perfection line. When the goals happen, it's perfect. But being in a lot of games, they do try to set up that perfect, goal. When sometimes you're wishing they just shoot the puck.
Yeah, well,
when it works, it's pretty.
It's a back-to-back games tonight, and poor Chara. I don't know how many minutes he has for tonight, but I can't see any more than 8.
They're bringing in extra defensemen tonight, Cassidy said.
Yeah, you have to go with the 7th defenseman, right?
We thought he was done 4 years ago, right?
Yeah,
I mean, Chara,
you're right.
He has adjusted his game tremendously.
He looked good against the Hurricanes, didn't you think?
Yeah,
I thought he was skating pretty well for Chara, didn't you?
Yeah.
He's great on the penalty kill with that huge reach of his.
I'm assuming that he may be taking Bjork out of the lineup. He's been just invisible. He's just not strong enough on the puck. He's not strong enough on the puck. It's brutal. He goes into the corner I haven't seen him win a puck battle.
Becomes part of the boards.
I've been on teams with a couple guys like that.
All right, before I end hockey, I say this almost annually. Doc Emmerich is the greatest play-by-play announcer in the history of sports. Would you disagree with me?
No. Nope. Doesn't lose his composure at all, ever.
By the way, he's announcing these games from his basement in his house.
Oh, is he really? I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yes.
He's in the basement of his house. He's doing this.
He's not getting the full picture. He's only getting the picture we get.
And he doesn't have any spotters? He doesn't have no spotters?
I'm sure they have spotters.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they've got lots of, tech and people helping them. But, man, that game moves fast. You just have to rely on your eyes and your instincts.
Yeah, the TV picture doesn't give you a full range of what's happening out there.
Yeah.
But also, if your Wi-Fi is a little slow, all of a sudden, I think actually in the breakaway goal, his Wi-Fi was a little slow because he didn't really pick that up that quick.
Yeah, he's not doing this from his porch on Randolph Ave.
There was a little. I know exactly what play you're talking about, Scotty. And there was a little second delay because he had to figure out who it was. I think it was Pasternak, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But I didn't know he was doing it from his basement. I thought he was in the bubble. But because the NBA announcers are in the bubble.
Oh, he's in his basement.
And also, before we go, Doris Burks is awesome too, and
he's terrific.
Great, just love it. All right, we got to go to the Red Sox. We have to do it because they made a trade. Workman, Heath Hembry, and now, all right, a little trivia for you. How did we get Heath Hembry? Who did we trade for him? Do you guys remember?
It was
Jake Peavy.
Jake Peavy, that's right. It was to the Giants. We got him from the Giants, yeah.
Heath Hembry. All right, look, Hembry and Workman were good soldiers here. They helped us win. Actually, Workman helped us win 2 World Series. Did the Red Sox get enough for him?
Didn't seem like it.
Yet to be seen, I guess.
I don't know what you guys. What Workman has. He's going to be a free agent, so he's got about 25 games left that he can play for this team. The Red Sox had no interest in. We're never going to re-sign him.
Oh, you don't think so?
No. Why would you? I just don't see they can find another Brandon Workman in their system or somewhere for a lot less money than he's going to cost.
I heard a quote about the Red Sox president there, what's his name?
Coach
I'm
Bloom.
Bloom.
Chaim Bloom, that he just picks up all the trash around the league for pitchers and just accumulates trash and hopes something good comes out of the trash.
Throwing up against the wall, something's going to stick.
It's like driving down the road, picking furniture off the sidewalk, hoping one of them's a valuable antique or something.
Well, I think he had to do that in Tampa, but you would hope. I mean, we'd hope that this is a different situation financially. Maybe not with the Red Sox, and he doesn't have.
I think this year it's that situation financially, but I totally agree, Scott. Look, I'm willing to give Bloom this year probably the off season just to see what he can actually do with some money, because clearly this year was about getting that salary down below the threshold, right? Like
it will be interesting to see if he does any mega contracts. Will he go out and do that gigantic contract that we're used to around here?
Probably not, Tim. But I think you're going to see a repopulating of the minor league system. Look at the Red Sox right now are one of the few sellers. With the expanded playoffs, almost everyone could make the playoffs now. And they're all going to be looking to pick up guys. They should be able to make some fine trades for themselves. They have the leverage. Everyone's coming to them.
Scotty, you had this interesting trade last night that you had read about with Verdugo and Plesac and Clevenger.
So Verdugo to the Indians. Obviously, maybe they'd have to add a little
Plesac
bit
to us
for Clevenger and Plesac coming.
That's how you rebuild. That's what Tampa did, right? Like that. Any deal you saw Tampa make was trying to get young, pitchers under their control into their system. That would be a very Tampa Bay move.
Yeah,
right?
People in Cleveland don't like Plesac right now. He's not on their number one list there. And so maybe you can get him cheap. The guy I've heard going to them most is our friend in left field there.
Oh, Benintendi. Oh, come on, Joe. Benintendi, seriously. I would
for a starting pitcher, I'll take it any day.
On my back and walk him to Cleveland.
Yeah.
For Plesac or Clevenger, either one of them.
Yeah.
No chance. Benintendi's proving that he may
I think it's
the fifth outfielder.
I think it's going to come down to
Benintendi have a few years before he's a free agent, though.
Yeah, a couple more.
I think it's going to come down to we have to have the right scouts picking the right guys. We got to be picking the right young guys, the right minor leaguers really have a chance to blossom here. If not, it's going to be all for naught.
Yep.
Well, nobody likes to see the professor upset, and I'm not even going to. If I find out that Mitchie Two Bags has been traded, I'm not going to be the.
How fast can they trade him?
If you love his wife Jill, I may call Jill first and say you break the news.
Here's my philosophy on this one, Scotty. If you love somebody, set them free. You gotta set Mitchie free. Let him go somewhere where he can hit clutch home runs and hit two baggers and win another series. He does not have a future here for the Red Sox either. I don't think.
Look, there should only be two guys that are untouchable on that team: Xander and Vasquez. No, even the pitchers because of those terrible contracts.
Devers and Devers are the two untouched.
Oh, you're right. Devers. We'll go for triumvirate.
Vasquez, I think, has already played his best baseball. Seriously, I'm not a huge
catchers
fan
are hard to come by, though.
No, they are.
Then you might be searching for one for another 10 years.
No, I understand, but we have such low expectations. Everyone across the league on production for a catcher. But if you could get some young pitching, I'd send Vasquez out the door. But if you can get something real for Mitchie Two Bags, when we shouldn't even have signed him to begin with this year,
you're not even going to get a reliever for him.
Look, you got to get single A guys, Joe. You know, I don't want
okay. I'll buy that.
I don't want flyers. I just want single A rookie guys that can develop in the system. That's
what's left. What's left on Mitchie's salary, by the way?
He's just like a 1 year, $3 million deal, Timmy.
Oh my God, he
just doesn't add anything to the team.
But he should get you something out there.
But statistically, he's one of the best hitters in baseball since the season started. I mean,
yeah, if I'm a club in the hunt right now, Mitchie looks good to me.
absolutely. And
situational pinch hitter. Yeah.
No, what we're talking about, Joe, even greater, because not only can he play first base, but because there's a universal DH, you can put him up in the DH. Yeah. And a lot of these teams don't have problems with the DH, especially in the National League. He doesn't cost you much money. This is where you could get a good prospect.
Mm-hmm. He's done it on the big stage too, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, we go to the Patriots. And you know how Tommy Brady, he gets so jealous when his girlfriend, Julian Edelman, does anything on Twitter that isn't affectionate toward Tommy. I don't know if you saw it yesterday on Edelman's Twitter. He tweeted Cam Newton as Superman and Julian Edelman as Batman.
I saw that.
What will Tommy think? We're waiting for a reaction, right? It looks like we've moved on, fellas.
Yeah, what have you done for me lately? I mean, the only way Edelman's going to get another contract if he does nice with his quarterback, and his quarterback throws him 135 passes this year, right?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to. Tommy chose Gronkowski, not Julian.
Yeah, right. Great point, right?
Is there anybody else on the team for Newton to even throw to? I mean,
Edelman calls him Gun Show now, and Sanu there, but it looks like Harry is still on the outs.
No, all of a sudden, Joe, this just in, N'Keal Harry was trending downward, and all of a sudden, the last few days, N'Keal Harry has shown great prowess in practice. And remember, there's only 14 of them, only 14 practices. Now, all of a sudden, people are talking well about N'Keal Harry. N'Keal Harry has all the physical abilities, guys. It's whether N'Keal Harry wants to stay.
So Newton gave N'Keal Harry a new nickname today, Doughboy.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Oh,
so
Doughboy.
That trending up might not be as sharp a trend as you think.
I don't know if that's because he catches for dough or he has a doughy like body. I don't know.
I'm gonna bet that maybe he's carrying a little extra weight around the middle.
Hey, nothing.
But you guys are missing the big news. The big news out of camp today. Sonia Michelle came back.
Sonia Michelle.
Did he bring a fullback with him?
Unfortunately not. He's got to have a partner, Batman and Robin. He's got to have the big guy.
You get hurt eating cereal.
If I were him, I'd have a fullback like hanging around with me all the time. You know?
That's Jacobs.
That's a guy, Russ, that we moved on from quickly. Now everybody's like, fine, Damian Harris.
I gotta be honest with you. I'm kind of bummed he was back. I was completely ready for the Damian Harris era. So now they're gonna split carries, and Burkhead's gonna get carries, and Harris and Michelle and White, and it's just going to be a cluster bleed.
You know, once again. That shows you though the life expectancy of a running back in the NFL, right there. Sony Michel is the poster boy for you. Better get your money now because you are expendable.
Yep.
I think Damian Harris though is the replacement for Burkhead. They have similar skill sets, and this will be Burkhead's last year here.
But I have to be honest. I have not heard the two words James White during all of this. Is he still on the team?
He's a captain, for God's sake.
Yeah. I mean, we don't see what's going on in practice. No one's going to write about James White, like, ever. What would James White do in practice to get written about at this point?
No, I know, but I mean, he's a key guy to that team.
I'm sure, but he might be doing great in practice. We just we don't see it and we won't hear about it.
I mean, you could argue he's one of the top 5 most important guys in this team.
Well, he was always the 5th option, and that's where he made his money as the 5th option. When everyone else was covered, Tommy would drop it off to him.
He was other than Tommy, he was the second most important guy offensively last year.
And you know what? Now we'll have some extended plays this year. Tommy just won't be throwing the ball away every third play. James White might become even more valuable.
Timmy, is the biggest change in the offense will be how long defenses will have to keep an eye on Newton during the course of a play, and how many more guys get open because you got 5 guys on the defense with one eye in the backfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, hard to play zone against them when 2 linebackers have to keep their eye on the quarterback instead of just one.
And it's the Gronk factor. Don't think that the safeties and DBs are too anxious to go and tackle Cam Newton. He's one big son of a bitch. You know, they start running away from those places when Cam Newton starts running. They don't go toward them, just so you know. All right, boys. I just want to leave one thing. These players should know that we forget quickly. We've already moved on from Tom Brady. We can move on from Sonia Michelle.
But you haven't. But
20
you haven't
years at
moved
the
on.
top, and we move on at the drop of a hat.
But Scotty still hasn't moved on from Jimmy G, though.
I will never do that.
Never.
he'll again. I told you this. Jimmy G and John Lester somehow will find their way back before the end of their careers. I'm gonna note that. All right, boys.
I think the last 7 Super Bowls have had a Patriots quarterback, whether it be Tom Brady, Jimmy G, or Cam Newton.
I know. Isn't that a remarkable statistic?
Wow.
Great.
Unbelievable. Yeah, we've had some pretty some success in the NFL in the last 20 years. All right, well, that was a great show, boys. Went very quickly. Want to thank, of course, the fellas. Want to thank everyone behind the scenes, of course, Corbin. Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in again next Wednesday night at 6:30 for another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.